Hello and welcome to the Ed Talks About podcast. I would like to inform you that what you're about to listen to are our views and comments from the host and guests. They only reflect their view and not the community as a whole. I hope you enjoy the podcast. And Eddie, play that witty banter section.
There will be no banter.
But I like banter.
Banter? Is it recording now? Oh, it is.
Yeah, you see that red light that says recording?
Yeah. What I can see is it says "C'est moi Eddie" on my screen.
What?
Because mine's cut off where the moi is.
Oh yeah, but mine just says Eddie. Yours is, what does yours say? I can't.
C'est moi Charlotte, but like spelled like the onion because I'm funny. You're welcome.
Are you funny though?
Mais oui.
No.
C'est très joli.
No, you know I don't speak another language. I barely speak English.
That's valid and fair.
Hey!
I know. I was like, do I agree? Do I not? I'm just going to agree. Cancel me.
I don't like you anymore.
This might be the podcast we both go down for. And weirdly, we've said that on maybe 5 or 6 podcasts so far.
Maybe this is the one. One.
Are we just going to keep going? I'm trying to think of names for my own podcast at the moment.
Oh, you're going to do one? Okay, well...
I've been saying for a while, and I was like, 2025 is the year, and I was thinking about Charlotte Talks About.
Whoa. I think some person might, what's the word?
Object?
Object. Copyright infringement, shall we say?
I might, but then I was like, maybe I'll go for Charlotte's Talking Over. And just play your podcast really quietly in the background. So we both get promotion.
Nice. Hello everybody, this is the Ed Talks About podcast, a podcast series talking about cosplay, Comic-Con and everything else. I'm your host Eddie, and this week we are talking about safety with photographers because something might have come out of the woodwork recently and I just thought let's talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that. Joining us on this episode is Charlotte Woolrich Photography / cosplay future podcaster.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Just
yes.
put you out of your misery there. Charlotte Woolrich, she does something and no one's really sure what it is.
No, very true. But yes. Anyway, how are you? How are things with you? Happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, we're recording this a couple of days after Valentine's.
Yes.
I thought I'd just say it, but yes.
Happy Valentine's Day to my Nikon camera. No. I'm good. I've just done my first proper external shoot of 2025, which was fashion, not cosplay, which was so refreshing. And I am quite rusty, so I can't wait to do loads more. But other than that, I'm just kind of, sorting my website out, getting a bunch of stuff done. What about you?
Someone's asked me about website advice. So, do I call him out? Probably no, but I'll leave it out. But someone did ask me for website advice, and essentially my advice was, what can a website do that your social media pages can't?
Oh, you're wrong about that. My website's going to be beautiful, and you will be.
He does listen to the podcast, so if you're listening, go to Charlotte. Is it charlottewoolrich.com?
charlottephotography.com, which
Sorry,
I own. And I got about 50 clicks independently from Google from people searching Surrey photographers. So if your SEO is good, then you do get work from it. So yeah, people don't care, older people don't care about your social media. If you want the rich clients, they will come through your website. That's where they're looking for people.
Yeah. I think the way I was talking about it's from a cosplayer photography point of view.
I'm thinking like wedding.
Yeah, and I steer away from that.
That's fair.
But yes, besides Valentine's, besides having spoken to you, because I haven't spoken to you since definitely last year. I feel like you've been avoiding me.
I was ill for most of January, to be fair.
To be fair.
I had like 2 colds back to back, and I basically didn't talk to anyone, which was.
I was going to say, I know when I last saw you. I know when I last spoke to you is when you had your sleep deprived Agatha cosplay.
Yeah, that was Oh my god, don't. But Eddie sent me some pictures back that I remember taking when I saw the pictures, but he sent me his like form of the safe form of, do I have consent to give you your pictures back? And I was like, sure. I don't remember what this was, but sure. I don't remember anything, to be fair, that I've cosplayed. And he sent me the pictures. I was like, holy shit, I thought I hadn't worked with anyone in this outfit. And I have, and the photos are great, and I instantly uploaded them. But no, that was... And then I messaged Eddie being like, please do not take this the wrong way. It's not that I forgot you. I was making that costume until 6 a.m. that morning. Level of sleep deprived. But yeah, and then I did remember it, and I remember that we were both very harried and rushed, and yet the photos are great.
Because I was coming back from a wedding I was attending, so that's why I wasn't there for that whole weekend. I just turned up for the Sunday.
Yeah.
And I bought a ticket, but didn't know if I really wanted to go, but decided to go. And I only had about a couple of hours sleep, but whatever. And then, yeah. Anyway. But, yeah.
But if we can do that sleep deprived, I mean, like, fair play to us.
Yeah, but it's not advisable. We shouldn't be promoting that. We shouldn't be telling people that can be done or should be done.
So we should have parental advisory warnings when we're tired.
Yes, yeah, definitely, yes. Or, you know, I mean, the advice should be get sleep.
I think the point is don't do it, but if you can do it and you pull it off, fucking well done.
No.
I smashed that cosplay. The episode had come out a week and a half before, and I found the screen accurate trousers, and I did my first ever double piece of bead embroidery, and I'm absolutely nailed that.
I'm not suggesting it wasn't a great effort. Do not take me the wrong way. I'm just saying we should not be telling people to do that.
No, you shouldn't do it. But if you managed to, because you had to, well done.
No, but Charlotte, you're putting in like a slight air that it is. If it's doable, do it. And I'm saying no.
If it's doable, and the other option is you don't have that costume, do it. It's worth it.
I should put a disclaimer that any advice given by the guest is not endorsed by Food and Cosplay.
But it is endorsed by everyone else.
What are you doing to me, Charlotte?
I don't know. Are we sleep deprived now?
Oh, probably, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Oh no, yeah. I didn't get any sleep last night. Like, I came home, watched Gladiators, and then had 2 or 3 sour sweets, and I don't know if that was what kept me up all night.
What?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Sweets?
Oh, you know Marks and Spencer's gummy worms?
Sure.
And there's got different flavors. One that's cola, one's got fruit. The sour ones.
Oh. That was enough to like tip you over the edge.
Possibly, I don't know, the sugar rush. But but part of my brain, I always think whenever time I get sour sweets, I do think, how the fuck does this get past like the idea stage? Can you imagine a sweet? You're in the boardroom, and you go, right, let's hear the next idea. You come forward. Sir, you know, like kids love sweet things. Yes, all kids like sweet things. Well, sir, we've invented this powder which makes it sour, and kids will love that as well. What? Get out.
The worst thing is that they were correct. I'm actually not really a sweets person.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. I like the sourness out of it. But why? Because it's painful. It's horrible. But
my sister used to eat those, was it toxic waste? All the time.
Oh my god, no.
I've never had one beyond a lick because I was just like, why are you eating it if it makes you sad? Yeah. But those were so popular.
Oh, absolutely. Anything that's painful, and I mean like painful curries, painful sour, things like that. No, I want to enjoy my meal or enjoy my snack. I don't need painful food. So, if you call me that I'm a wimp, fair dues. I am a wimp. I do not care. That's not my remit. So
this is not the hill I thought you would die on this episode. But I'm proud of you that you've gone for one of them.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, as I say, I was like, because basically I sleep with rain noise, but that cuts off around about 2 a.m. in the morning, and I heard it stop playing. I went, I've got nothing to listen to, and I couldn't be bothered to like boot something up. So I think I was just laying in my bed for about a couple of hours before I actually drifted off. So I'm a little sleep deprived right now, but I'm not driving a vehicle or anything like that. So I feel like I'm okay because I'm not operating heavy machinery.
You're not in charge of a forklift during this episode.
Well, I mean, not today. All the other episodes I might have been, but not this episode.
Beep, beep, beep. Can you just insert some kind of forklift noise?
I will try to do that. Yes, I'll try the forklift reversing noise. Yes, I shall do
Amazing.
that. Anyway, I think we're funning each other. Oh god, that sounded a bit rude, but we'll carry on with the terminology. We're funning each other right now because we are dealing with a very sensitive and very serious thing that happened on Monday. So Monday, what day was Monday? The 9th? No, 8th.
10th? 10th. 10th, I've just looked it up.
10th. Oh, 10th. Okay, right. No, I'm bad with numbers. Where so look, I will put the post out. I'm not going to go into details of the post. You can go and look at it. So a post by Goran Moran put a post out outing a photographer, and it gained a lot of traction. It doesn't seem to be too much of a fallout as in the photographer himself went, "Oh, hands up, yes, I'm guilty. This is all true. I'm going to take myself out of the community." And I thought, okay, at least there's not a back and forth type of thing. We're not going to be talking about the incident in full, in detail of such. We will probably pick apart a little bit from here and there and things like, look, if you really are interested in this story, this post, if it's still up, I'll put it in the podcast description. Go click away and you can have a look yourself. It is quite it's it's quite God, I don't want to sound like I'm really trying to tiptoe around it, but I just found it very I don't want to say the word fascinating, but that's the only.
I feel like
the series of events was so weird. It's not your typical.
It's just, I think we read it and we were like, look, rather than just do a podcast where we could harp on about what happened and it's just shit for everyone, we would rather be like, talk about safety, because I mean, I've been talking about it since day one, and as everyone else, but it kind of needs to be said again and again.
100%.
It seemed like quite a good, almost like jumping off point for, let's not do all the negative stuff again. Let's do the, if you're new and up and coming, or you've been here forever, stuff to look out for that we as photographers should know.
Oh, 100%. And, and like I said, we'll be maybe pulling some elements of this, but basically it was just a weird series of events that I went, oh, that is terrible. And anyway, so we will talk about this, bits and bobs. But first, I just want to get, what was your first reaction when you heard this story? I mean, was it like, oh, another typical male photographer, or shock, or what was your first instinct?
I was so cross. I think because I had sent a series of incoherent text messages to my friends being like, what the fuck? Because like, I love photography. That is like my safe hobby. It's my fun space. And the one thing that, and it's not because I'm a woman, the one thing that I know is that when you are the photographer, you're in the position of power in that duo. Even though you're working together equally as a team, I leave with all of the images on my camera, and it's my job to make sure that like the bad ones don't get out, or the, boudoir ones I'm not editing in a public cafe, etc., etc. Like, I, at that point, have your safety in my hands. And the fact that anyone would break that trust level as a photographer enraged me, because the only thing at the baseline that we've got to deliver is safety. If the photos are shit, fine. If the photo shoot itself didn't go to plan, fine. But the safety element is like non-compromising. Like, you have to be trustworthy and safe. Full stop, end of. And that is just like basic respect to your model as a human being and for your profession as a job.
I like that you pointed out about the power us photographers have. I love to go back to that point later down the podcast.
Yeah.
I think to go back to the original question, I think a lot of people were very angry for different reasons, different viewpoints. And I came out of it with a viewpoint, which when I look at it, think about it, I think, oh, this is actually quite a selfish reaction to it. So my reaction to it was that oh great, another male photographer has been outed. Great, that means a bad name to all male photographers. Great, we have to be extra careful now what we say, what we do, how we behave in front of, in front of cosplayers. Then, in the green room that me and John were just talking about, I then said, wait a minute, we should be doing that anyway. It's not like it's an extra requirement, it's the requirement.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by a selfish point of view when I came out with that. And I'm glad we are calling these people out. We are cancelling these people for the right reason, not because he's saying this, that, and the other. This seems to be, this incident had solid evidence, and like I said, the person owned up and they have taken steps. They're not going, oh, I'm going to redeem myself. It's like, I'm stepping out straight away. But I do have an issue with that at the same token.
I feel like it's not even like the word, I hate the word cancelled because it's so social media used. Like, this person genuinely have broken trust levels, and like, I don't think it was illegal, but it was like borderline sketchy. And so the fact that someone with evidence basically whistle blew and said this is the case, and then they left. And I think actually that's like almost best case scenario is like empirical facts were made public, everyone could distance themselves. And then obviously the fallout is everyone is upset and hurt, and that is so valid as a community of both cosplayers, models, photographers, everyone involved. But also, it's not like, oh, I just cancelled them because they hate me. Like, this came with proof and facts, or I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it, because I hate it when people are like, I'm cancelling them because of a vibe. And I'm like, you can't just cancel people because of a vibe. You can, create a safe environment. That's fine. But yeah.
No, absolutely, yeah. I think what I was trying to get at was that. Do you know what? I've actually forgotten. I derailed myself. Sorry. I'm just gonna. No, it's fine. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Not a problem. But yeah, it's just good to. I think I know what you mean by. I do hate somewhat cancel culture when it's just hearsay. And don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that all hearsay shouldn't be proven until innocent until proven guilty. But I do think that should still remain the case, that unless there's solid evidence, be careful how you choose to cancel someone. But anyway, that's my personal opinion, shared by no one else, I think. But we can cross that bridge on a different podcast, another podcast. No, good to hear your viewpoint. Like I said, this is what, a couple of days old. This is about a week old now, and I think things have settled down. And I think, should I mention this? I know other developments has happened regarding a different person as well, which shows that there is power in strength when people do call these people out and things like that. But I mean, let's go over the basics. Let's do this. I mean, safety. Let's get it. What would you say is the paramount about safety doing a shoot, either at a Comic-Con, a studio shoot, street shoot? What?
I think it's difficult because a lot of it has to be based off like basic safety, like you would every day. So stuff like if someone messages you and asks for a shoot and they have like no social media presence, no one else has really heard of them, they're asking you to go somewhere like a secluded location, whether it suits your outfit or not, you would be not stupid, but you would be like, you haven't done your due diligence if you then went with them, because red flags are there. And so basic safety stuff would be like, are they like known? They don't have to be known to friends of yours, but just like, do they have a presence? Are they open and honest? Is the communication like clear? If you ask to bring a friend, are they like, yeah, absolutely, that's fine? Just, I think the more information as a photographer you can give someone, the safer it becomes. And it's all the unsafe people that I've kind of avoided at cons are people that are like, do you want to shoot here at 2 p.m? No real chatting, and I'm like, no, because it's not worth it.
I mean, now thinking back, I'm like, oh god, the amount of times at MCM London Excel Centre, I've taken them beyond the barriers. Not like I've taken them 2-3 miles away from the venue, but I'm like, it's far enough away that it's not within eyesight of like security guards or con goers. And I've gone, if something happened, or someone wants to accuse me of something, it's easily doable. You can do that.
But then did you say beforehand, okay, I've got an idea for a shoot. It's like just up past the comm barriers.
Yeah.
There's these like metal buildings, blah, blah, and they went, yeah. So you've given them all the information at that point.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I've given them that information. We're going over here, there. Even if I forget, I'm hoping they would ask me. I was like, where are we going at? I'm sorry, I forgot we're going over here and things like that. Because I have generally, there are times where I've gone, oh, I have an idea. Follow me, and like they've just taken in good faith that I'm going to take them somewhere which is fine and safe. And if you are hearing this and you're going, oh shit, I should be asking Eddie where we're going, please do ask me. I will not take offense. Actually, yeah. In fact, if anyone takes offense to when you ask them a question, like, sorry, excuse me, can I just ask, can I see your portfolio or where we're going? Or just don't think what else people might say. Or is there anyone else here on this venue that you shot photos? I can quickly ask for feedback. Then if they take offense, that's definitely a red flag.
I think, yeah, like if as a photographer, you have to have a thick skin for and like an awareness that they don't know you, they don't need to know you. Like you have to put your ego away. They don't know you, they don't have to know you, they don't know what your plans are. A lot of the time when I'm shooting, I'll say, oh, I've got plans for like putting in something in the front in this area, which is why it looks messy, because they don't know that. I know that. They don't know that. So if someone says to you, like, do you have a page? Like, can someone here recommend you? That is not someone saying, I think you're unsafe to be offended by. That is them doing their due diligence for you because they haven't met you before. And I know quite a lot of like people I've met who would get offended by that, and that's part of the problem. It's not an inference on your character, it's just a basic, hey, I don't know you, can I check? So if you're aware as a photographer that someone might say to you, where are we going, what's your plan, like who else have you shot with here, then you just answer those questions because you have nothing to hide. Like they are very reasonable questions to ask.
No, absolutely, 100%. Before I forget, another safety thing I would ask, but I think all photographers should be doing this anyway, is show the back of the camera. For every photo you've taken, show them. Even if it's the rubbish ones, I took a photo of a building max when it was a bit blurry, show them.
Oh, please. I hate it. As a cosplayer, I can't stand it when you don't show me what you're shooting.
Because at least you can show them what's been taken. Because I do have a zoom lens with me, and I don't want them to be accusing me of like saying, did you just zoom into my front chestal area? Like, no, I didn't, but here's the proof I didn't. And because you could show that proof, like, look here. And if there's anything that going, because there was an incident where I've had a nip slip, not major, but enough for me to go, I could see enough for me to go, that's not right. And in front of them went, right, watch me. And I said to them, watch me. Click, delete, click, delete, click, delete.
I mean, you've done that for me, and I know you extremely well. And I appreciated it because I didn't leave the shoot and then go, oh my God, what have I done? Yeah. I left the shoot knowing, like, you respected me enough to put my mind at ease on something that I wasn't worried about.
Oh, yeah. And,
it's nice. I never really didn't think about it again until literally right now.
Yeah, I can't actually remember the incident, so thank you for...
We were doing, like, blazer shots with nothing underneath.
Yes.
Which is obviously, like... And actually, to be fair, the one you deleted, you still couldn't really see anything, but you were like, that's too close for comfort for me.
Yeah.
Because I was obviously expressly covering myself. So, like, you were like, that's too close for comfort, I will delete that, so you know that I've only got shots of you that you've basically consented to the level of clarity.
100%, yes. And I don't want you to, like, that's what I'm saying. Though we are friends, though you trust me, I still wouldn't want you to leave that shoot, no matter what our friendship level is to think, could he? Would he? And that's the impression I never want to leave with anyone at all.
And I think that's what I appreciate almost now with hindsight is, I think you're the only person I've shot that level of, like, I mean, and the photos are sick. One is currently, by the way, my boyfriend's phone background. You reshared them and he found them and he was like, this is really hot. So the black and white one's his phone background. So at the time I was like, I completely trust you. What do you mean? And then afterwards I was like, oh, actually, that's a really good lesson for me as a photographer, because even if someone completely trusted me, that was a very nice, like, tangible, concrete thing of, like, it doesn't matter if you trust me or not. It's now a non-issue.
Yeah.
Which was really nice and something I now do if something's, like, wrong. I'm like, let me just delete it now, and then we never have to think about it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I can now think of other instances which happened. Like for my other brand that I do, which is I've always said it's part of the fetish one and all that. There are some photos which they are consentingly me shooting every part of it, and I'll let you fill in the blanks what I mean by that. And I went, "Are you sure? Are you okay with this?" And I was have to really make sure everything. And I was showing them even though they showed me everything, I'm like going, still feeling uncomfortable, but just going to show you anyway. And there are the fetish model they used to be used to showing off their parts, but that's a different environment. That's then they're consenting to me. You didn't consent to say, "Hey, something slipped out," but hey ho.
Yeah.
Things like that. So back of the camera, that's another thing I would definitely suggest looking at. Always get details of who you're shooting with, and vice versa. The photographer needs to ask cosplayer, and the cosplayer needs to ask the photographer, "Who are you? Where can I find you on the internet?" and things like that. So I carry a lanyard with my QR code and my website, and people recently I've just gone take a picture of it so they can find me later. Because I think if you take a picture of it, it's easier than scanning a QR code because that could go missing later. I don't carry business cards anymore. I don't kind of believe in business cards anymore, but neither here nor there. I mean,
I think as well, like you just said, get details. If you are shooting and you have an assistant or you have like a second shooter with you, please fucking tell me who they are. Because people have asked me before, can we take pictures of like your group? And I'm like, yeah, or like me. I'm like, sure. And then out of nowhere, their mate will rock up with a camera and take pictures as well. And I'm like, sorry, I know who you are, but who's this other person? And why are they also taking pictures? Like, do you know them? And I think it goes such a long way. If, for example, I've had like occasionally my boyfriend or a friend coming on like a model shoot and holding a camera, and I'll message before and say, my partner will be there, literally just holding lights for me. If that is not okay with you, I will make alternative arrangements, like blah, 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 and I'll introduce them. I'll be like, this is Arthur, he's my partner, he just holds lights because he's taller than me and I'm too short to do that. Like, introduce people, even if they are not part of the shoot and they're just hanging out with you. Just say, this is my mate, Eddie. We're going out for coffee in a minute. Are you comfortable with him just hanging around till we go grab coffee? Because it is weird when someone else shows up with a camera or just stands there and stares at you and they haven't been introduced. And that is a safety thing. Like, I shot with a few people. I'll keep it brief, I promise. I shot with a couple people inside, and one guy had asked to take pictures of our group and another guy turned up, like clearly a friend of his, and was also taking pictures. But the first guy showed us pictures on the back of his camera, and the second guy didn't. And there's part of me since then that's always wondered, like, what pictures was the second guy taking? Because he probably just forgot to show us. But then there's also something that's like, he could have just been taking feet pics, and the other guy was like, basically his distraction technique. Because we were all girls, it was like an all girls group. And I was like, and now I'm still wondering, and I still don't know who he was. And it would have taken him 10 seconds to go, this is my mate, Trevor. He's just learning to take pictures. Do you mind if he snaps a few shots? And we would have gone, sure.
No, absolutely. And I would also, from a photographer's point of view, it's a two-way street. If you've got someone in your group that's not part of the group, do say, because sometimes I'm going, why is this person following us? Are they part of the group, or is it a creeper that's wanting to get in, like things like that? So do say, oh, by the way, my friend's coming with us, they're just holding bags, or oh, this is my partner, things like that. So everyone knows everyone, which is it's always helpful for things like that. I mean, like I said, we've said all these safety things, since we blew in the face from most of the podcasts we've recorded together, and then with other photographers. Is there any other like essential safety things you'd like to get off your chest before we dive a little bit deeper into this subject?
I think the biggest one is, and it's actually the one I hear said most, which is great, is as a woman, especially, you are entitled to ask to bring someone with you to the shoot. You do not have to attend that shoot on your own.
Yes.
Even if your friend is not in the photos, if you have been told by a photographer, meet me by the statue and we'll take some pictures in the trees, and you say, my friend Ben or Sarah or whatever is coming along with me, and they say no, at that point, you are... the photographer is the safety hazard. Like, there is no reason why someone else couldn't be there for those pictures. So if anyone ever tells you have to be alone for a shoot, that is the biggest red flag. Like, there's no reason for it. Do not shoot with them And I really mean that, because it doesn't matter if their intentions are harmless. That is a safety issue.
100%. I think one of my last ones before, like I said, we go into a discussion mode, is that as a photographer, if you, as a male photographer going to a female cosplayer, if you ask them for a photo and they say no, do not take an offense. Do not try to force the hand. Try, if they say no, I don't know if you would you accept a second try, and if they still say no, then they can very much walk off, because look. I like to think I don't give off creepy vibes. I don't give off any. I feel like I'm a normal person. I say normal with relative circumstances. I know I'm loud, I'm a bit brash and things like that, and I can say
No.
some like very blue things without realizing it, and which I'm starting to own up now to as well. But yes, I've learned that if a cosplayer say no to me, it may not be about you. It might have been incident that happened before you, or experience they've had previously with other photographers. Or you got cosplayers who are just happy with the people they know and only want to shoot with these people. Absolutely fine. Do not be offended by it. Okay, I don't want to hear, oh my god, look at that cosplayer just said no to me. I was like, okay, they're allowed to say no. They're fine to say no. It's just not your right to demand photos out of cosplayers.
It's quite a good rule of thumb that if you get super offended by like basic safety stuff, that you could possibly be part of the problem.
Ooh.
I mean, because like, hey, if I said to someone, can I shoot with you? And they say no thanks, or like no, and people have literally just turned around and gone no, and I'm like, sure, whatever. Even quite rudely, you just have to walk away from it. And if you walk away from it and you're like, oh my god, they didn't have to say it like that. Like, it's like, no, put your ego in the bin. You asked to shoot them, they said no. End of. And if you really take loads and loads of offence to it, it meant you thought you had the right to do it, and therefore you're part of the problem. So
yeah, absolutely. So hopefully there's some safety guidance things that we've said that, either some of you have gone, oh my god, I've not done that, or actually good that it's been said out loud. Now, there's a couple of things from this incident that I thought about, and I forgot to mention that I did an Instagram live based on this incident. I was very raw. I was really angry about it and things like that. And the one thing I said, which you said at the beginning of this podcast, is that I do feel that photographers have, I wouldn't say too much power, but they have power over cosplay. And let me explain. And I don't know if you get this as a female photographer, so let me know if what I'm saying resonates or not. But I do feel that sometimes when I do ask a cosplayer for photos, in a sense, I don't know if I see it in their eyes or not, but they have to say yes, because if you are not willing to come to me because you're shy, or you don't think you're worthy enough, things like that. And if I come to you, oh, would you like photos? Yes, you're excited about it, but also, oh my god, this might be the only time I'm going to get photos from someone. Yes, I need to get photos. Oh, please, yes, things like that. And then I don't know. Sometimes I also feel like that we could, if like I said earlier, cosplayers can say no, and if it comes off as a bad interaction, I don't want them to go, the photographers to go, well, that said no to me. Oh my god, right, I'm going to tell all my photographer friends to go, don't you see that cosplay over there? Don't shoot with that person. They're very rude and things like that. Like, I hope you're understanding what I mean by photographers have power over cosplayers, because I do feel like at times, like, I don't mind being told no nowadays. Like, when I first started photography, it was an issue for me, but I had to like Charlotte said, I had to take my ego out. And now, if someone says no, it's fine, no problem, because I don't know what's happened during the day. I don't know what's happened previously. I don't know if they've got a crew. I don't know what's happened. Just take it as a no. But I do worry, and especially male photographers, I don't know how well they'll say no. Take the word no and things like that. And I just think we have somewhat too much. I don't want to say the word power, but it feels like it. Charlotte, jump in.
I will save you.
Thank you.
I think it is the case, because nowadays, and I mean the basic fact is, if you are a cosplayer or any form of creative and you're trying to push stuff online now is a visual medium, and we are and obviously this is so overgeneralizing, because you can take just as good, if not better, pictures on your own, depending on who you're working with. But like people, especially in cosplay, want pictures from professional photographers because then we'll share them and you'll share them and you look good because you're in a professional photo. We look good because we've got people to shoot with. So there's almost like a kind of supply demand need. There are fewer photographers than there are cosplayers. There will always be another cosplayer. There might not always be another photographer you want to work with. That gives us the power to basically be picky, and some people can abuse that power when you've got, the creme de la creme of cosplayers wanting to work with you. That gives you an opportunity, if you're a bad person, to go, hey, maybe I can push boundaries a little bit. So there is a power imbalance, and especially like I was saying at the beginning, like we walk away with full raw files of like that person's whole shoot. And obviously at con, they're normally very like normal, but you've still got that whole set of things where people are blinking, people are looking stupid, people are, fixing a costume, etc., etc. That they walk away with your name and pretty much nothing else. So you have to be responsible. You're essentially taking people's data and being in charge of it for a period of time, and our only job is to make the data look good and to keep them safe. But we do leave with physical stuff that the cosplayer doesn't. It's like puts you in the position of power.
Yeah. Is that what you meant by position of power by photographers, or was there something else?
I think it's emotionally and physically.
Explain.
I mean, when there's a shoot, a lot of models feel like, oh, if I say no to something, or I don't do the right thing, or I'm not like the perfect model for this person, they might never work with me again. Which, I mean, if they didn't, they'd be an asshole. That no one's entitled to work with you again. Sometimes shoots just don't work out. But if you've got to set your own boundaries as a model for your own safety. And if you don't want to do something, you've got to let go of like, this person might not work with me again, because presumably you shouldn't want them to if they're doing it. But like photographers have the power, especially with new cosplayers or new models, because a lot of them are just desperate for photos and they are not necessarily going to have the same boundaries that as photographers we should know. So like I would know, to take a really obvious example, like I'm not going to say to a new model, oh, like open your shirt more or like something for a shoot. Some photographers would, but that's a really extreme example. As a model, they might be like, if I don't do this, then they'll delete all my photos and they'll get cancelled. So they might feel like they have to. It's my job as a photographer never to say that or to even get near that line to protect them. Because like, you are in charge at that point. Even though creatively it's the same level, like you are in charge of the shoot normally as a photographer. So you have to be in charge of setting the boundaries and being the responsible adult and making sure that no lines are crossed.
Absolutely. I think as a photographer, I don't think it's quite, what's the word? It's not obvious when I first started that I, as a photographer, set the standard, I set the mood, I set the theme. So if I act professional and keep it professional, that's fine. If I start with a bantery joke with a complete stranger, that sets a standard for them, how they see me. If I go about being, hey, like open up your shirt and things like that, they're going to look at me and go, is this standard? Is this normal? No, it's not. But you've got, not saying but what I'm trying to say is that you've got to have the right mindset to go when you're going into a shoot. You can't take what I have with you and me, Charlotte, to a cosplay that I don't know. They made me nervous. They don't know how to pose. They don't know how to look. What should they be asking instructions, looking for instructions? Should they be talking to the photographer? Things like that. So
I like what you said about professional, because it is actually, if you just think of it as like your workplace, you be professional in your workplace. And even though we've known each other that long, we've done that many shoots, you still, when we did like that blazer shoot, you literally switched straight into like professional mode. Which was like, at the time I was like, what? And then I was like, oh no, actually I prefer this, because we knew what we were shooting. There were clear lines there of like, obviously
100%. Okay, for the blazer shot, basically you're just wearing a blazer with work trousers, shall we say that, and it was a bit opened in front. Now that shoot, I would never, so have that as one side. I could not treat your Guardian of the Galaxy Star-Lord cosplay shoot the way like we joked and we talked about, had fun that time. I couldn't take that energy into that shoot. that's not the same scenario. Though we are friends, though we have worked together before, we did the Star Lord first and then that blazer shoot. Not consecutively, but
Yeah, can you imagine?
yeah.
I'm green on the face from Gamora, but
oh yeah, you did Gamora as well. I was talking about the Star Lord one.
Oh yeah.
But what I'm trying to say, that energy you cannot take. And I remember getting advice when I was trying to do this type of modeling photography. They did say, when you do things like this, you've got to be utmost professional. You cannot joke about. And it took me a long time for me to get out of that mode, to get out of that mindset, to go, right, if I'm dealing with something very sensitive, very what's the word, exposing of their self, then I've got to be very careful what I say and do and things like that.
And I think it was really nice because it was like we basically were going for like powerful woman vibe.
Yes.
Which is like, very fun and easy, but obviously if you're doing it in a case where like you could accidentally take a photo of something showing, and it wasn't the environment of I would have flipped out, but obviously you don't want that to happen because that's not the intention of the shoot. Like the intention is important. So having you be like super, super professional and like, we know where the line is. The line is topless with a blazer underneath. With the blazer underneath, blazer on top. Yeah. So the blazer is obviously there at all times. You were very professional, making sure like if I was changing pose or doing anything, you literally turned away, which was the most respectful you could possibly get. Of like, I'm not even putting you in a position where something could accidentally happen.
Yeah.
And then like, so kind of learning from it, I was like, oh, because you're being so professional, this is easy. And it's not awkward when you're that professional. You're like, oh, I've just been given space to be normal. So a lot of times when people talk about being professional, go in the extra mile to make people comfortable, it's not weird. It's actually pleasant and expected and nice when someone does give you space and goes, just tell me when you're done posing and I'll turn back around. Yeah. It's like part of the shoot. It's not you being disrespectful.
100%. I mean, for example, and I know this sounds over the top how safety conscious I was, but those who know me from my other projects and have been following some of my behind the scenes, I recently did a black tape photo shoot, which obviously the model had to be topless for it.
Yes.
I still turned around. I still looked away. I still, no, Eddie, you got to turn around and put this tape on me. I went, do I? Should I? I don't. Are you sure? Are you? I'm still like being really skittish about going. I'm about to touch you, and they get. It's fine. We agreed to do this, but even still to this day, I'm like going.
I think it's good that you find it odd though, because it's way more of a red flag if someone's like, oh yeah, come here, babe.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, we know each other enough that I think we kind of half joked about that. But again, I was like, my God, don't joke too much. Don't joke too much. Don't make it too friendly, if that makes sense. So you got to know those boundaries, type of thing.
But it protects you as well, because because then this comes back to the social media thing we were talking about before. If I then go to social media a year later or 2 years later and go, oh, I once did a blazer shoot with Eddie and I was moving and he didn't turn around, so he might have seen something, so it gave me weird vibes. Genuinely, that would be enough nowadays on social media to probably get you cancelled, which is stupid because obviously that wouldn't have been the case and you weren't being weird. So it's like, it's protecting you as the photographer just as much, not even that you need this excuse, but it protects you as a photographer just as much as it protects the model, to have that level of, this is my workplace, be professional.
Yeah, no, absolutely. As you mentioned the W word, the weird. No, creepy. No, do you said creepy or weird? Weird vibes.
Both. They go together.
Let's go one and the other. So, can I talk about or ask you, in your position, from your point of view, if you see a photographer that is giving off weird vibes, creepy vibes, is that instant red flag to you? Do you just like, no, go away? Or I'm not saying do you still give them a chance, because obviously you've got to. We've always said go with your gut. If you're not happy, if you're not feeling safe with this person, say no, walk away. But
I think, that's really tricky.
Yeah, because
there's different types of like odd people. So there are some people that I have worked with that are just socially awkward, and but you can kind of tell they're just socially awkward because maybe it takes them like a minute of hovering nearby before they actually ask if you want to shoot, and then they just seem really relieved that you said yes or no. There are like, you have to go off a vibe at the end of the day. You don't know everyone. So there are like, you kind of boundaries. Like, I won't just, if someone's giving me odd vibes, I won't just follow them across a common floor somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'll be like, no, if you want to take a picture, you can take it here when I'm surrounded by my friends, and you can take a couple headshots, and then if it gets weirder, I'll be like, oh, I'm actually really late for something, and I'll just leave. Like, just any excuse to leave. But you really have to just use kind of common sense. Like, is this person acting strangely? Is this person not showing me the back of the camera? Have they given me their page name or a card beforehand? Have they just come from shooting someone else who seems happy? Just being kind of aware of your surroundings. And to a degree, it's my responsibility to keep myself safe as well.
Yeah.
So if I think someone's odd and I say yes, then I am almost like and it shouldn't be the case, but at that point I've kind of put myself at risk.
Yeah.
So you have, if anything just feels odd, just say no. There's always someone else.
Absolutely. And I'm not using this sentence as an excuse for people's behavior or anything like that, but also, let's face it, a lot of our community are somewhat on the spectrum. So I'm not suggesting that's an excuse for the behavior or things like that, but as Shark was saying about social interactions that they're not either familiar with or comfortable with, or just are unaware of how they're perceiving. I'm not just talking about from photographer's point of view, but I'm sure cosplayers also are on the spectrum and things like that. So it could be equally both directions about the creepy weird vibes type of thing. And I've met a few people, I hate to say it, from our photography community who I've seen that has these weird vibes, excuse me, need to get my tongue out. I can also see that they are on the spectrum, and I'm going, it's like, it's hard to point it out, to call them out for it, because I think they may not know or may not be doing it on purpose.
I think it's also very valid just to put in, if someone is on the spectrum and it did for whatever reason make you still feel uncomfortable shooting with them, you can still say no. Like, you don't have to shoot with someone. You can say no for any reason. You don't have to go, I have to give them the benefit of the doubt because. So, like, well, this is where it kind of gets tricky with the whole, like, cancel culture, is like, looking back on it and saying someone made you feel uncomfortable, you need to be really careful with, because if it was just the case that they're slightly different to you, that's a very different thing to someone who's like intentionally being creepy, as this person was, for like reasons, So you can, at the end of the day, say no to shooting with anyone, and you don't need to give them a reason. You can just say no.
Absolutely. I just want to move on the conversation a little bit, because this is something I've been wanting to ask you, and sorry to bring your gender into this, but as a female photographer, do you find it that female cosplayers gravitate you more? And I know I've asked you this question before many years ago when we kind of talked about female photographers, but let's bring it up to 2025.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, whoop. Do you find female cosplayers are naturally more relaxed around you compared to male photographers that you may have observed, their interaction with male photographers? Do you hear things like, oh, I'm so glad you're a female photographer, I feel more relaxed? Do you hear comments like that still in 2025?
I get it more now, which is sad for you. Not in like a sarcastic way, it is sad.
No, I get, carry on.
And especially the people that have been cosplaying longer, I now get, when I'm shooting with them, and it's not everyone, obviously, frequently I'll get people saying, this was a really different experience. No one's ever shot this costume like that before. Thank you. Or, like, some people say I deliberately basically shoot with only women that I know or men that I've known for many, many years, because I just don't feel safe anymore. And, it's actually, I feel sad that people feel like they need to pick me because I'm quote unquote the safer option. And I do think, I will put my hands up and say, I think half of it is the fact I cosplay as well. So it's not just because I'm a woman, it's because everyone's like, oh, she also cosplays, so she gets both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it more. And like, even shooting people outside of con, they're like, I don't shoot outside of con with like men now because I just don't know who to trust. And I'm like, that is sad.
It is sad.
And I'm tired, and I get it. I actually do get it, because I'm tired of people coming out being creepy. So you're like, you know what? If you've got the safe people that do understand, why would you not stick with them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, and this is what my comment earlier about how I feel like I have to work when anything like this comes out of the woodwork about a male photographer being creepy, being called out, being cancelled. I think, great, now I've got to start from ground zero and build up my reputation again. I feel like, and I know this, I said earlier, this sounds like a very selfish point of view. Part of me does think this. It's just I don't know how to really say it, because like, really now thinking about it, I'm like, oh my god, this is actually a really selfish point of view. This is a really selfish viewpoint to have, that I'm not putting the female perspective viewpoint into the limelight. I'm putting myself in the limelight, and again, it sounds like I'm overshadowing the main point, which was that a female felt really uncomfortable, was the line was crossed, and things like that. Again, I'm not going into the full details of this whole thing. Just a reminder, if you want to go and see it, it's in the podcast description. But yeah, I feel like I'm taking something away for saying things like that now thinking about it. So
I think it's valid because you've put a frame on it, right? So you're not saying the whole problem with this is that now men will have a bad name. You're like, the problem with it is the breach of trust and the safety issue. The knock-on effects, and obviously everyone takes every point to do with themselves. Like, the knock-on effects are, I trust people less that I don't know, or even that I do know. You feel awful because you're basically falling into this category of people that have been untrustworthy again, even though it's not your fault. And it's completely fine, I think, for people to say that and to voice that, as long as it's alongside but let's also talk about the bigger picture, because it can suck for you, and that's absolutely fine. But it's also, how do we move forward as a group and make it not a problem?
No, thank you for saying so, because like I said, I just thinking that now for the last hour or so, I'm just going, oh fuck, have I like I'm trying to do a podcast about this subject, and yet I feel like I'm taking the focus away by saying, oh, look at me, I'm now being affected, blah blah blah. Like, no, Ed, actually, you've missed the point a little bit, not like completely, but yeah, it's just,
But you have, and I think it would be stupid to even imply that you haven't been, because a lot of male photographers I know messaged me afterwards, basically saying like, are we still cool? Because everyone does then panic that there's going to be a knock-on effect. And the simple case is, when someone breaks a level of trust that severely, and this person was known by like a hell of a lot of people, then everyone does kind of feel that wave of almost panic of like, wait, that could have been me, but it's not, because I'm normal. So like, are we okay? And it's not. And as I was saying to the people that messaged me, I was like, as long as your focus going forward is how can I make myself the safest and most professional version of myself that you can be, then you wouldn't have anything to worry about. If you're just going, oh, woe is me, I give up, that's a very different thing, because, oh, I give up, there's no point, is very different to, let me make a podcast talking about safety to try and get people to think about safety aspects. And I've seen both.
Yeah. Oh god, gee. Okay, let's not go down that road. Down that road. So I think this is the bit where this is going to be the bit that I'm hoping we have an answer, but possibly don't at the same time. So part of the story of this interaction that's been posted online wasn't actually any incident during any photo shoot at Comic-Con. It was post Comic-Con. It was like interaction between people that they felt they had confidence in and sharing some detail about this and that. And God, I don't want to see. Oh God, I almost said the word opportunity came. No, that's what. But basically, for some reason, this photographer took a route, and that route basically broke the trust of every female cosplayer that found out about this incident and now online. Charlotte, from your point of view, is there anything you can do about post Comic-Con safety?
I think this is a really unusual one because, like, I feel like, full disclosure, I was also messaged by this person, and I also had no idea it was them until this all came out. Genuinely none. So I was fuming, which was baffling. And the real issue with this one is that in shoots that I found very professional, it was outside of shoots. They was asking for like further information from people. And what breaks down there is almost like the social trust. So it's like when I'm shooting with you, you know, completely professionally, it's the imbalance of knowledge. So like, you know that you messaged me this and you know what I responded and you know if I sent you something or not. But I've got no clue. And that's kind of where the like, I think the like anger comes in.
Yeah.
Is it doesn't matter if you're in or out of a shoot. It's treating someone else with respect. So like putting someone in a deliberate position where you know something they don't, that is unacceptable.
Oh, absolutely.
And like that's kind of where it, and I don't think that there's any way you could have protected yourself from that.
Yeah.
Because as a female cosplayer, I get messages in my inbox weekly, monthly, that mostly get flagged by Instagram of people saying, "Oh, will you send me like a feet picture for £100?" You know, most of it's clearly bullshit.
Yeah.
But you get these messages all the time, and you know, my way of protecting myself is say no to all of them.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
But some other people, especially people who do more of the boudoir type side or Patreon sites, there's no reason for them to necessarily screen out messages like that, and there's nothing wrong with them agreeing to it. The big egregious issue here is that this person did not disclose that they were known to them, and there is a massive difference between sending even like a normal any data to someone you know and someone you don't know. And so
yeah,
I don't think there's any way you could have protected yourself from this because it was just so bizarre.
It is so bizarre. You can't even say to people, don't tell people about life outside of Comic-Con, things like that. That means you just don't talk to anyone online. You can't not do that because, like I said, this person had the trust of these female cosplayers. And I should say this. I don't know, we're about an hour in. I'm painting a picture that all male photographers, cosplayers are the worst. Just to say, female cosplayers and photographers can be equally as bad.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not sorry to sound like I know it's taken me an hour to get to this point, but I should say that either gender or all genders, I should say, are part of the problem, also not part of the problem. Okay.
Yeah, we're only gendering because this case was such a clear cut. Like
it was so clear cut, but it's like because you know we all do that thing of sitting there thinking, what can we do to prevent this? Like nothing, you can't, because it's
this one you couldn't. And what made me so cross is that I literally did not know until that they were the same person, and I got the message.
Yeah,
I've got messages for like 6 months in the Instagram request folder. And I've shot with them several times, and I still, with this knowledge, would not have put the two together until I knew. So there's literally, and like, you could argue, and part of why I was so cross is, as a photographer, I almost should have known. And I'm like, because I knew them so well. And I was like, no, literally nothing would have put it 2 and 2 together. So it's just so bizarre.
Exactly. And again, I don't want to leave on a sour note to say that it's, you know, you can't trust all male photographers and things like that. You know, there's in a sense duplicity of like people's motives of why they're doing photography and things like that. And it's like I said, it's such a bizarre set of circumstances that hopefully touch wood, it'll never ever be repeated again.
It's worth saying that part of what made this so like what is how widespread it was, and 2, how unusual it was. So obviously you get people who maybe make someone feel uncomfortable or cross a line or whatever. some of the time, something like this happening on such a scale, I think, is incredibly unusual. So you don't need to be looking at every photographer you meet like, this is going to happen to me. It is so unlikely, which is why it's so important that when it does happen, we talk about it and be like, break this down. How can we make everyone safer? Because, or like, if you are a photographer and it makes you review your safety policies more for future shoots, great, because it got you thinking about it. And and it's just, it sucks for everyone involved. But if you can make the community safer moving forward, that's the aim.
Absolutely. Right, I don't want to. I just want to start wrapping this up a little bit, but I mean, it's good when we do see posts like that come to light and things like that. I mean, is there a time and place when we should do it? Is it something you should do straight away? Is do you need to collect evidence first and screenshot this, screenshot that? What's your point of view? Because if I'm honest, I don't think about this, and I feel like, am I part of the problem?
I think it's worth thinking about what you'd do if someone came to you with that kind of information, definitely. And especially like, if don't it's so tricky because it's almost case by case, because if someone comes to you and goes, I get weird vibes from someone, that's a very different sentence to someone's come to me with clear screenshots and evidence it was this person, which was the case here. And some people may or may not have sat on that information for a bit.
Yeah.
Which to me is the biggest sign of disrespect to all the like victims involved, for want of a better phrase.
Yeah.
Because if someone comes to you with clear evidence of something that is putting other people at risk, then you should, either go to the authorities or talk to more people, or like just put up something and say, clear cut information. This person's done this. Here's the proof. I'm not discussing it further. They should leave. Like, it's the speculation and the weirdness around it, and everyone should step up in that regard. Like, I don't share names. I don't share comments. I can't stand witch hunting online. It is most of the time people get really worked up. I'm like, if it's not your business and it's someone's personal business, you don't get involved. If it's something like this, which was clearly a huge number of people who were like in our community were affected and weren't aware, that's when I think you should say something very like neutrally and say, this information is apparent. You may be affected. Please have this information at your disposal should you wish to block them, whatever. Because people not having the information at that point is more harmful than good. If it's like, oh, someone was rude to somebody else outside of Comic-Con and therefore I don't like them, that's not, like, fuck off. But and I don't think it's gendered. I think everyone needs to step up, because I've had people in the past, men and women, say like, oh, maybe this is happening, maybe we should do something about it. I'm like, make a judgment call and just do it. But don't sit with information that could make, that is hurting other people because you want to be the person to like break the story. That is an arsehole move. And if I ever hear that anyone's done that, I will come for you.
Or even sitting thinking, I just want to be on the fence because there's not enough evidence, or you don't want to be accused because that either you're close to that person or you don't know. Because I will admit that there's times where, when I first started in this community, a lot of people say, "Oh, that photographer, don't shoot with him. He's just creepy." I went, "Okay, he appears creepy. He may do creepy things. Is that really warranted for people to stop shooting with him?"
Yeah, I mean, there was someone I was friends with for many years before, and then he crossed the line, and then we basically turned around and said, do not come back to Comic-Con, you crossed the line. And prior to that, because he was a lot older than us, prior to that, he had done nothing. You could have said he was creepy. He had done nothing wrong. So it doesn't matter if you said he was creepy. He was fine.
Yeah.
Him crossing a line independently to Comic-Con a lot later with someone I know was irrelevant to the point. It was, we then turned around and said, absolutely not. And if you come back to Comic-Con, we will make it clear that you crossed a line.
Yeah.
And you are no longer safe. And that is fine. And he chose not to come back to Comic-Con. And that's great, because obviously we had proof and evidence and we weren't just basing it on emotions and feelings. I think that's like the main thing is, if you are sitting there umming and erring about like, I have actual proof, not just like a few random screenshots, and I think it's so important to say the biggest thing with this is it wasn't a few screenshot text messages. There was like literal paper trails from the message thing to the person's account under their real name to like PayPal accounts under their name to email account. It was like so clear this was the same person. It wasn't a debate. And that's the level of evidence where it's like, it's not, maybe he did this. He did it. We know it. You should say, anyone who has been messaged by this account, please be aware that this is actually blah, blah, blah under a false name. Delete as you wish.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like I said, it's I feel bad as a male photographer sometimes to not take action. And I don't know why I don't. And I don't know if it's a combination of like lack of evidence or I don't want to be caught up in something that's not partly my business and things like that. But as I've always been saying, because I get comments from social media, people thinking that I'm the female cosplayer. Like, I get it every so often. You were saying that you're getting it weekly and monthly. In fact, I'm surprised you're not getting it daily. I'm not suggesting you should.
Thanks, I do. Now you mention it, why am I not getting them daily?
Oh God, what we say? No, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
No, but honestly, it's like I can only imagine you get it more frequently than I do, and if what I'm getting is like, oh my God, actually, this is on my alternative account. They kept saying hi after like a story or a post in my DMs, and I just went hi back. And this went for like 3 or 4 interactions, just saying hi, nothing more. Then last night, they sent me their picture and their home address, I think.
What?
Nothing more.
Huh?
And I don't know. So this has went from hi to their picture and address.
Excuse me?
Yeah. And I'm thinking, holy crap. Okay, so this is just a normal, well, I say normal, this is just a person following my account, not a photographer or cosplayer. But this shows that anyone can do this, and it is creepy as fuck. And I don't understand what the internet gives people the power of anonymity. They think they can do anything they want. Like, I have your photo now. I have your address. What did you want me to do with this? Would you like me to report you? I can do this? You know, it's like, but anyway, what I'm trying to say is that who has experienced some, harassment online because people think I'm the model in the picture,
which is also bizarre, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I should probably step out a little bit more when I hear things like that. If I see, a photographer harassing a cosplayer, I should step in and say, "Hey, everything okay?" Not to say go in there fist ready to punch, but just say, "Hey, what's going on? Everything going all right?" And if the cosplayer wants to say, "Get behind me for protection," I've done my good job. If ever, oh no, we're just banfully playing, and if I can observe that everything's going okay, they're not blinking for like help, then great. But yeah,
I think that's easy, and I would say I think that's almost easier for me to do because I'm a cosplayer as well. So if I'm wandering past someone I don't know and they look really uncomfortable, I can be like, "Oh my God, honey, cool," and the photographer will generally just assume we know each other. But what I found after lockdown, and this is kind of why I agreed to do this podcast as well, is I did a series during lockdown of like red flags and photographers at Comic-Con, which did really well, which is I'm very proud of, and the fact that it had to was sad. But it was like red flags, like don't take people with you, etc. And a lot of people came up to me after that con because I made it clear. I was like, I'm telling you safety tips. If you need help at con, you can come find me. And quite a few new cosplayers who started cosplaying after the pandemic came up to me and went, "Oh, I saw your videos about photographers. Like, it's just really nice to know that there's safety stuff out there." And I was like, I think actually putting yourself, just being very clear that like you are a professional, you have standards, you are safe, goes a long way for if someone is shooting with someone they're not happy with and they see you walk past and part of your brand is I am the ultimate professional, they are more likely to come to you and go, "Help me, please."
No, absolutely, yeah. So I shouldn't giggle like that. It was the voice you did.
I know, I'm not sure what voice that was. Help me, please.
Help me, please.
All wilting cosplayers. Weary But if you make yourself safe and like approachable, and you've shot with so many people in the community as have I now.
Yeah.
We've got networks enough where I think generally people can see us more as safe spaces. Obviously, they make their own judgment calls, and that in itself goes a long way. For like, we are setting standards that will work with new or old cosplayers in a professional way, and I'd like to teach them like this is what you should expect from a shoot, and if you're getting less than this, then that person's the problem. And because if what we're doing is the bare minimum of just being kind and professional, and someone's not doing that, then they are a problem. So just keep being professional. And people wouldn't have issues.
100%. 100%. And I mean, to take a line from friends that I've spoken to about, they literally said, "Don't be a dick." Literally, how hard is it to be a decent human being? It's not that hard. It's literally the basic requirements, and yet this is saying that going back to the power dynamic of a photographer. I think we should one day, when I don't know, look under the microscope about this power dynamic that a photographer has, and I don't. And I think somewhat it's subconscious, and I do worry that. I'm not going to call anyone out.
I think it being subconscious is the dangerous bit. Like, if you don't know that, you're stupid.
Yeah, but if you're conscious about it, that's even dangerous.
Woo.
Yeah, but anyway, let's put up. Let's say you live a happier note. We can say on our heart that the creepy people, the weird people, and especially those who cross the line, are the smallest, minutest part of the community. They do not speak for all, part, half, whatever. They are a very, very, very small part of the community. And if you do feel uncomfortable, someone has said something or done something, if you feel like, actually, I don't need to do a full post about it, speak to them, tell them about it. You're educating them to say, oh my God, my behavior, I thought it was okay, but actually, shit, I wasn't. I should modify my behavior to be better. If they turn around going, oh, can you take a joke? Then you go, thank you very much, and move on. And then you hold that just in case something else. Oh no, should you be holding things like that for people?
I mean, it shouldn't really be necessary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you know something, if someone makes you uncomfortable, just don't work with them again. Like, it's not worth it. Don't push the boundary. And, if you're at a con and you feel uncomfortable, XL security are fantastic. And con security lately have been briefed way more on safety stuff. So if you don't know anyone in the community and someone's made you uncomfortable for like a specific reason, go and tell security, because it is their job to keep an eye on it and to keep you safe. So, like, security, the actual XL security, the volunteers that work there, if you don't want to talk to people you don't know, talk to them. Yeah. That's their entire job, is to make you happy and comfortable.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll let Charlotte have that last word. So, you happy to end the podcast here?
I'm delighted. Relieved, in fact.
Oh man, sorry that wasn't like a fun chat to have, so there wasn't many jokes. We usually like to have my podcast be a little happier, freer, but I think a lot of those subjects we had to be very serious about and just couldn't cut too many jokes in it. So hopefully next time I do a podcast, it'd be a bit less serious and things like that. But I just wanted to put this out there because I think people need to think about this a little bit more, but not just male photographers. Well, I don't know. Anyway, neither here nor there. Anyway, Charlotte, where can they find you on the social medias, and when are you going to join Blue Sky?
I feel like I'm already on it, but I actually can't remember. If you search my name, I might be. I may have made one many years ago and forgotten about it. I am on most social media at Charlotte Woolrich _photography. Woolrich is spelled WOOLRYCH. You can find my portfolio at charlottewoolrichphotography.com, although that will be being updated very soon. And also Charlotte Woolrich _cosplay. And I'm not promoting Twitter because I hate Elon Musk and he's a twat.
Oh no, Charlotte, please tell us how you really feel. I feel like you're too much on the fence.
It's definitely not because I've just given up Googling what my Twitter handle is. And let's be honest, I exclusively use it for reposting pictures of Taylor Swift or Agatha anyway, so It's just irrelevant to this podcast.
No, that's fine. That's not a problem.
Also hire me.
Oh yeah. I totally forgot about your catchphrase.
You can hire me at charlottewatchphotography.com. My new rates for this year are baseline £85 an hour, which is a bargain. You're welcome.
Absolute bargain, absolutely. And you do weddings and all that?
I do weddings, not officiating. But I do be doing weddings. I do be doing
I'll do be doing some weddings.
I do. Oh, we've actually lost it.
I know, we really have. Oh, man. If anyone needs to find me on the social medias, if you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, you can find all my social media links, including Blue Sky, Facebook, the Instagrams, the threads, the whole shebang. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, generally, you find cosplay photos, podcasts, episodes, things like that. A shortcut to the podcast is foodandcosplay.org/podcast. If you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, they might be a podcast extra with Charlotte or just me. No, wait, no, not just Charlotte or just me. It's either me and Charlotte or just me.
It's actually Charlotte and I.
Charlotte and I, that's it.
I'm joking, it's not in that scenario.
Don't correct my grammar. I don't like it.
I'm a grandma, I'm sorry.
It'll probably just be me, but and I'm sure it might be just a post talk about this because this has been on my mind for a few days now. So I'm going to give myself a day before I record the podcast extra, so you get to hear my dulcet tones as well. Well, also on the Patreons, I'm doing a video diary, a weekly video diary called Raw and Unedited. Charlotte again has given me a better name for it, but I think that's one step too far. What was it, Charlotte?
Raw and Unedited. Which is great, and you could still spell the same and just pronounce it like that.
Oh, true. Oh, with two D's. I see now. Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you very much, Charlotte, for being on the podcast on this episode. I really appreciate your viewpoint. It's always welcome to the podcast. Please feel free to come back to this podcast whenever you're free or whenever I ask you, things like that. You're always welcome.
Cheers. Yeah, I think thanks for doing a good safety talk. It's always needed.
Yes, absolutely. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, and Charlotte's going to say goodbye. So, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. God, we're annoying.